this is what these races mean, and this is what you should look out for. We have 3 races today. We have the special election in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a state that's considered a swing state. So while not the people in the state aren't registered 50-50, we would say that 50-50, the state's broadly split depending on the ways and flows of the country. And in the last election, it was a very close race with Trump just eking out the state by a slim margin. So this is the first election since then. And this Wisconsin race has been intensified by the fact that Elon Musk took his attention to it, because there is some concern that if the Democrat wins Susan Crawford in the state Supreme Court, this case that could go before them about how the districts for the congressional districts in the state is organized, that they should be possibly redone to be more fair, because even though the state's like 50-50 in the last election and is a lot more representative when it comes to the state legislature after they did away with Wisconsin's old gerrymandering, because it has a history of gerrymandering. But when it comes to their national representatives, 75% of the representatives from Wisconsin are Republicans, even though the state votes like 50-50, and that's because of how the maps are drawn. And so there's fear within the Republican corners who believe that the maps are fair, partially because you're like, well, rural communities vote more this way, and also because they're winning, so they think it's fair. They don't want Susan Crawford to win, because if she does, then that could mean possibly more congressmen, Democrat congressmen, getting elected, or at least having the competitive ability to win, and meaning the Democrats picking up more seats and making it more, difficult for Republicans to win. Now, the thing is, that we would end up talking about flipping 2 to 3 House seats, possibly, best case scenario, if it was redrawn and the Democrats had a really, really, really good year, right? So this is not anything that completely changes the balance of the nation. But when we have a House divided by 3 to 5 seats, depending on certain people getting sworn in and the results of the elections in Florida, 2 to 3 seats are pretty significant. And hell, even if you make it so that there's just a divide of 1 to 2, that means those 1 to 2 possible flip-floppers on one side could be, maneuvered around a little bit. You can add more pressure. It's going to be harder for the Republicans to maneuver in without possible compromise, which Trump, of course, has a history of not knowing how to spell it, see it, or smell it. So this is the stakes in Susan Crawford's case, and Brad Schmill, who is the Republican opposition. Now, Elon Musk, there's another tint to this election, because Elon Musk has dumped so much money, millions upon millions, more than anyone else, into this race behind Brad, trying to give him advertisements. If you live in any of the districts where they are voting right now in Wisconsin, let me tell you something. If your election, as your TV time, if you turn on the television, hell, it is hell. Don't watch TV. You might as well have not watched. It's a little late now since it's over, but I hope to God you didn't turn on TV. You only relied on the streaming services, because my God, every second of advertisement time in this state was bought up by the advertisers. Now, in response to Donald Trump's massive pouring of money into the state of Wisconsin, Republicans Democrat fundraisers, including George Soros, actually took money and put it in to try to bump up Susan Crawford in rejection of like the millions that Elon was dumping in. Now, it was not anywhere close to what Elon was throwing in there, as the Democrat big billionaire blue money also started to flow in. So to be cleared, Brad Schiff has a clear money advantage. The richest man in the world wants him to win. And if you've been looking at social media any time recently, or like Elon's social media, you've probably heard the name Brad Schiff, or saw one of the weird AI comics he's making of him to look like a superhero, because Elon Musk, he's kind of stuck in like 2012 Reddit brain with the rest of the Republican Party right now. Let me see if I could show you this. But one way he's actually tried to influence the race is by giving money to voters. Remember the big $1 million check thing he did during the race? He's doing that again. And he's saying, it's random. It's totally random, even though they kind of admitted before it isn't. It's totally random. It just so happened to be that one of the $1 million recipients just so happened to be the state college head for the Republican Party. Oh, what a coincidence. It just so happened to be them. You think they're ever going to give $1 million to somebody who isn't going to vote for their guy? And now look what they're doing too. Look at this, like, AI. Brad, look, doesn't he look so cool? Become a block. I really hate that Elon kicked the guy who had the @America on Twitter, which is a very valuable ad. Didn't pay him a dime. Just kicked it off, took it over, and made it his own little political pack. It's scummy, and it is the bending of Twitter towards his political game. Again, it was never about taking this platform and making it nonpartisan. It was just being partisan in a way that made Trump and Elon happy. Become a block captain for Super Judge Brad Schmill. You will earn $20 for every picture with a Wisconsin resident. They'll get $20 too. First, visit homes in your areas and snap a picture with your neighbor holding a photo of Super Judge Brad Schmill. Could you imagine? You're in Wisconsin and some person comes up to you like, I need $20. Can I take a selfie with you in this AI image of this guy you've never heard of? Okay. Second, upload your picture at blockcaptain.theamericapact.org/signee by entering your email and your neighbor's information. You can also email your photo to captain@americapact.org. Bonus, if they sign up to be a block captain, you can both earn an extra $10. This is a very compelling, convincing argument. Easy money in Wisconsin for something you already believe in. Anyway, we're going to get results of this in the near future. 1 second. The dogs are going crazy upstairs right now. But the other race we need to talk about is there's 2 races in Florida. One to replace Matt Gaetz' seat after, that report about him being inappropriate with the youth. We'll just put it that way, got out into the public after Trump tried to make him the highest law enforcement official in the country. Very normal. Somehow just something we all brushed by because Trump is just seems to be typically a little bit more scandal-ridden than the average president. And another district as well in Florida, both very red districts. In fact, districts that were so red, we're talking like Trump plus 30 in the last election. But the polling indicated going into this, even though it was plus Trump 30 in this special election in an off year, Democrats are actually turning out in higher numbers. And so the last poll I saw had it so that they could have even been possibly within single digits. And here's the thing. I'm not expecting the Democrat to win in Florida in either race. I don't. I think that if that was to happen, that would be a damn near miracle. No, it would be a miracle. It's not near miracle. It would be a miracle. What I'm looking for is to see if they can get that gap between like plus 30, get it down to plus 15. If they can cut that in half or get it down to crazy enough, plus 10 or my God, single digits. If they can get it into single digits tonight, the Republicans should be sending off alarms, fire alarms about how the public view them. Now, of course, special elections are different than normal elections, and you should not read too much into them. But these are being viewed as at least partially referendums on the administration. With just so much going on, it's very hard to escape the specter, especially when you're dumping so much money from the world's richest man who's directly tied to the president of the United States. We're going to watch the results as they come in tonight. I'm most interested in the Wisconsin race, but let's go check out the Florida races. Okay. So we have some results, and it looks like they've already announced who won in both cases. So, I mean, again, like I said, unsurprising. Jimmy Pastoris running in Florida's District 1. I guess Gay Valimont. But the gap is about, it looks like, I mean, the gap is like 20,000 votes. This is a much smaller gap than what Trump had during the election. We're going to have to wait for the rest of the votes to come in because right now it's at 92.6%. So I doubt we're going to get much of a change here. This is probably what the result's going to look like. You might get a change of a few percentage points. So you might be able to get like Gay up to 45, best case scenario. But this is probably what the results look like for District 1. For District 6, which is the district that actually used to be held by Republican Matt Gaetz before, he decided that I'm going to do broadcasting with Newsmax because I can't, I see my Venmo payments and I get flashbacks. Randy Fine has beaten the Democrat challenger, Josh Well, 55-43. Again, a margin that is much smaller than what Trump got in in the race just 4 months ago. with the vote difference between these two being roughly 20 to 25,000 as well. With 98.1% of the vote already being counted, there's really going to be no change here, maybe a percentage point difference. These are the results. So considering that before we were talking about a 30-point difference, and now we're talking about, roughly speaking, like a 10-point difference, this is a pretty big shift, and it's a big shift in a very short period of time. I want this to be a reminder for you guys. While special elections right after somebody gets elected, there could be some boomerang effect. Let's also remember that this is still supposed to be the honeymoon period for the Republican Party. These are districts that are drawn for them that are pretty good. And we have races that are not particularly competitive, but are within plausibility, striking distance if you wanted to build towards an election in the future. As in, it isn't a complete lost cause. It's something where somebody thinks, maybe we have something here to work towards in the future. It's replacing hopelessness with hope, which is the worst thing you can give your opposition in any case, hope, something for them to build upon. And either way, putting aside any talk about the future of Florida's District 6, it is the district that elected Matt Gaetz in the first place, after all. So putting too much hope in District 6, I think, is silly. But it does show that Trump has lost favor since the race, since the election, and as he has not prioritized the economy, and he's prioritized having these fights with our allies and bucking the constitutional power of the purse, and economic issues, tabletop issues continue to concern Americans, and we've gone from scandal to scandal. The numbers have not improved for Trump. The numbers have only gotten worse, and this honeymoon period is ending very badly. I remember I went to a family wedding in California once. We went out there. Family paid for make sure family could come out for those who could not afford, trying to make it like a big reunion in my youth. And I remember watching them dance and having the whole celebration and how expensive the whole thing was. By God, just, give me a bronze band. Just watching all that, like, just give me a ring. That's it. Okay. But then after I go back home, and within 48 hours, they had broken it off. I feel like that a little bit right now for the whole country. I feel a little bit like that. Like we had this like immediate buyer's remorse for the country. Immediate buyer's remorse. Wait, 1 second. I hate to be distracted, but how's Wisconsin doing? 12.9%. Again, Susan Crawford ahead by what looks like 5,000 votes. My God, this really is a close race. Nope. And right as I say that, holy whoa. Look at this. 15.3% of the vote. Susan Crawford is now nearly 10 points ahead. 189,382 to 156,615, with seems like a majority of those votes coming from Madison, Wisconsin, and some areas like Kenosha, which, actually, no, I don't think it was Kenosha. Kenosha is actually pretty close. Kenosha, Wisconsin. Of course, famous due to the news stories that came from Kenosha. Again, this is a district that Trump, this is a state that Trump won. And this is a state where, if this shift is anywhere close to where it is right now, if it is 10 points tonight, that suggests a significant shift. But honestly, I'll be satisfied if we just win. Okay? The bigger, the better. But considering how much money Elon has dumped into this race, if we can win with that, I'm not going to call it a shoestring budget because Soros did tune in. But the numbers were certainly against Miss Crawford. The numbers certainly against her. How is Musk doing? Has he tweeted anything yet? I want to see his first tweet. I got to see his first tweet as the results are coming in. Oh, here they come in. Here they come in. Breaking, Wisconsin question 1, which adds a voter ID requirement to the state constitution, is passed. This doesn't surprise me. If you ask people to have a voter ID, most people are in favor of the idea. It's just the question should be, what is a voter ID and how do you get people voter IDs? I believe that if you require voter ID, everyone should be given one. that once you turn 18, you have one sent to you in the mail, and it could also come with a bunch of instructions on how to vote and why voting is important. And, you know, I think it would be it could be almost like a tradition, like, hey, Billy, you turned 18. You got your voter card in the mail. Congratulations. You're an American voter now. You know, it could be like a family thing, a beautiful thing, always free, no cost, no monetary cost borne upon the consumer. Because if you tell somebody they got to go out there, pay $30, $40 to go vote, some people legitimately won't. And there's other reforms that need to be done too. For example, election day, making it a non-working holiday. That would be fantastic. Federal holiday. But the way that it wants to be done is voter IDs, okay, but it has to be the small selection. And in certain instances, people have even gone in and they'll look for the types of IDs that people are most likely to have that don't vote with them and restricting them. For example, things like student IDs, or IDs that are primarily used by demographics that won't vote for their party. So by adding more barriers to the vote, it adds another layer of potential politicization of a barrier, which we've seen in the past voter IDs be used to do, which is my concern. It's not that I'm concerned about a piece of fucking plastic. It's that how that piece of plastic could be used to restrict people from the vote, which is why I should give it to everybody once they turn 18. And if somebody makes the effort to get out of bed and go vote, then they've gotten the right to vote. And while you might think that's too low of a requirement, laziness does grab the hearts of many Americans. Oh, more results. Okay. But like right now, like it looks like a straight, clear path to victory. At this point, I think Susan Crawford has it. I'm not going to say for sure she has it. What I'm saying is all signs are positive, and the votes that would need to be made up by Brad don't look possible to get from the math I'm doing in my head right now. I think Susan has it. I might be the first person to say it, but I think I see it. Again, most of the votes have not been counted, but I'm looking at the areas where they would need to gain and the areas that are not counted, and they haven't even started counting in Green Bay yet, and she's ahead by fucking 13 points. So like, at what point am I just like dragging this out for you? Hey guys, oh, it's so close, guys. Oh, keep watching. Ooh, I'm not doing that tonight. She's doing very well. This is very good news. So I'm calling it before anybody else calling it. That this is probably it. I think Susan's won. Wait, Decision Desk called it? God damn it. Decision Desk beat me by 2 minutes. Okay. Well, I guess I was right. I mean, it does look like there's no mathematical way forward. Decision Desk has called it. Susan Crawford is the winner in the Wisconsin State Supreme Court race. Woo! Look at that. All that money in the world, Elon, all that money. And you know what the American people said? Get the fuck out of here. We're not buying what you're selling. We'll vote how you please. You can't buy us with your stupid AI images. Okay? But I wanted to end today's stream by looking at what looks like was probably going to be the final Wisconsin results. She's ahead by almost 10 points. This was supposed to be close. Elon Musk dumped so much money into this race. And not only did he lose in a place where Trump won just 4 months ago, he lost by nearly double digits. And there's still 10% of the vote to be counted. And, you know, you never know. Some more of those votes from Madison's come in. Hey, a lot more votes from Milwaukee still need to come in. Hell, it could even be it could be double digits. We could make it over into the double digits. I wanted to show you what Susan Crawford had to say at the announcement of the results.
Someone who watches out for people. But I've got to tell you, as a little girl growing up in Chippewa Falls, I never could have imagined that I'd be taking on the richest man in the world. For justice in Wisconsin. And we won.
Money isn't everything. I did release a new documentary on YouTube. For those of you who don't know it, Russia's human hunting ground in Kherson